Well, I appreciate y'all being here, and certainly not one of our most glorious days after a loss to Abilene Christian. Although, it looked like a pretty good football team to me coming in, and they proved it on the way out. And I got to thinking about the thing, and I remember when we were going from 2 to FBS or 2 to 1AA back then. And we recruited by Division II rules for 6 months, and signed some guys by those rules, and then we picked up, and of course you can split aid, and I think they got 68 scholarships, but they can spread it over 100 guys if they want to, and they've done a good job. Texas football, a lot of excuses that we can make. But I know none of y'all are going to buy any of them. So, we got beaten by a good team, well-coached team that I believe can beat anybody in our conference. And they've already taken Georgia State to the wall in the Dome. I think they lost by 1 point or 2. And in Northern Arizona, I know nothing about how good Northern Arizona is, but they beat them at their place, so they must be decent. So, very unique approach to offense, semi-UAB with a lot of clusters and a lot of close formations. And, of course, these are things that we have worked on, but sometimes you get out-leveraged, and they were able to take advantage of some of those situations. And we got whipped. I'm not an excuse guy. If y'all want a bunch of excuses, you probably need to go somewhere else. But all I know is that I'm not happy. The kids ain't happy. Ain't nobody that cares about Troy happy. And, that's something we have to deal with and move forward and try to rectify. The team we playing this week probably ain't no good team to be thinking about rectifying. We got to try to think about finding a way to sneak up on them and try to come out of there and with some kind of victory. And it will be. I've looked at both sides of the ball. They're very, very good, very athletic, very big, very fast. All the things that Georgia should be, they are. And we've been there before. These kids haven't, but we've been there as a staff before, and I've been there myself as a player and as an assistant coach, and it's a great place to play, and my opinion, they have great fans, and so we'll look forward to the trip and the plan and try to execute and come out of there with some semblance of win. And I hope that you understand that we have got all of our conference games in front of us. We got, and that doesn't mean a thing, except that we got conference games, all of them in front of us, and they're all pretty good, and they're all good enough to beat Troy. If Troy don't beat Troy, we'll have a chance in every one of them. So, and we've done decent with the ball now. I don't even, how many turnovers we have a day? 0. And with 2 young guys at the helm, that's not bad. Of course, we'll hopefully try to build on that. If you don't turn it over, you got a chance, because that means you get a chance to punt. If you can't drive the ball, you get a chance to punt it into the other end, and it gives you a better chance to play field position football. But and our kicking game has held up pretty good. And as long as we don't turn it over and give them short fields, it will help our cause. And so, I know y'all can't wait to ask me a question, so I'm going to close with that right there and let Jeremy have the floor. No questions, seriously.
How's the quarterback, Brandon?
Well, he's dinged up a little bit, if that's a good phrase. The upper body, above the neck injury, whatever. I don't know. I was impressed with his performance. You know, he did a good job. He ran tough. He took care of the ball. You know, we got to work on deep ball throws, I think, with our QBs, and Sean and I have talked about it. There's a rhythm to throwing a deep ball, especially the go ball, where you don't slow down or double move or post. And you know, and it's basically a 5-step rhythm. And you know, sometimes guys overreact to a guy drawing near and passing. A defender, they overreact and overthrow it, shoot it past him, and instead of maybe elevating it a little bit more and letting him run into the ball and catch the ball. So but don't think we don't work on it now. I mean, all of you that have been to practice know that we throw a lot of balls and a lot of deep balls, but I think if we, you know, and of course then, you know, Dontrell turns around and throws one right on top of two down there for a late score, which gave us a you know, last breath chance to get an onside kick and maybe play. But you know, that was sort of a jump ball situation. But Silvers is improving, and I'm hoping that he will recover in time to play, if not against Georgia, the conference season.
How about Waylon?
Waylon is going to have surgery tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be a scope deal. He's had them before, and hopefully, you know, we'll get him back. Depends on how he reacts to the surgery naturally, and you know, he came back in 3 days the last time, but you know that, and we're pretty progressive in the training area as far as rehab of those type things, and our doctors are on board with it. So we'll see. You know, I wouldn't dare say that Waylon would play as good as he could play, but he would probably try to play. And you know, him at 90% might be as good as another guy at a little more percent. So just because of experience.
Talk about the mindset of the team, Coach. The guys on Saturday talked about maybe a mentality issue. Was there any difference in practice on Sunday?
Well, you know, if you can read minds, I need to hire you. You know, I'm not being smart either. I'm just saying, you know, I know that they're hurting because I know that I'm hurting. And you know, everybody on our staff's hurting. Everybody that's associated in the athletic department's hurting. Everybody that's a true Trojan is hurting. And so I know they're hurting. And so the thing that we had to sell them on is the fact that if you're hurting, you don't go that way, you go this way, internal. And you embrace the guys that you know you can trust. You embrace each other, and you try to find strength from each other. And you know, you don't go blabbing off or being this or being that. And you know, we as coaches have to take it upon ourselves to try to induce that best we can. You know, I think you know, we've started the ball rolling in that regard. I think we got some guys that are old enough and experienced enough to understand that. I got a text from Jarrell and basically said exactly what I was talking about. You know, tell those guys, you know, that they need to be sure to stick together because each other is all they have. And basically from a true Trojan, Jarrell Jernigan. And you know, as a matter of fact, Jarrell played on the team that went to Georgia the last time we played. And but you know, to keep fighting and to keep trying to get better, and yes, individually, but I'm talking about as a team, as a group, as a defense, as an offense, as whatever group is out there on the field. So, you know, but we are hurting, period. There's no way around it. And you know, if there's anybody in here that likes Troy, they hurting too. And you know, so that's about the best way I know to answer that. We're trying to breach the problem, and the problem will probably have to be solved internally by the players and coaches together.
Talk about motivation. Is it going to be easy to motivate them to play Georgia, or after a loss like that, difficult to motivate them to forget a game like this?
Your guess is good as mine, as far as to how they will accept the challenge of going to Athens and playing. You know, sometimes the things happen, you know, externally that cause them to get excited. And I can remember going over there and you know, being riled up by our team, being riled up by fans and their fans. And but you know, there's not anybody doing a lot of talking, you know, right now. Certainly, you know, but I think our guys will be motivated to go play as well as they can, and I know our coaches will try to give them as good a plan as we can produce to not just be a look team for them, to be a competitive group.
How key will it be to try to stop Todd Gurley in that Georgia running attack?
That's a hell of a question. How'd you come up with that, Jeremy? He's very difficult. He's big. He's fast. He sees well. And somebody asked me on the telephone this morning if he compared to the last one was at Denver running. No, Sean. I said, no, Sean, a pretty good player. This one's compared to that one that y'all all talk about, Herschel. And and he does. I mean, he's big and really a different style of runner than Herschel, but big and powerful and sees everything. And Herschel was more sort of in and out and circle because he was so fast. This guy, I mean, he looks backside. He goes that way. And usually those big linemen furnish him a place to run too. So, but a great player in my opinion. I don't even know what's his classification. Is he a junior? Yeah. He'd be gone after this year. Probably somewhere.
You talked about it a little bit with the conference schedule still ahead of you guys. Do you think the team, even with the start, they're hungry to get out there in those conference games and show that we still have this season in front of us?
Well, I certainly hope so. You know, there's if you're a competitor, which I think we've got a group of guys that are competitive, then you'll go to the practice field and you'll go to the game field and you will try to approach the game in such a manner to be able to win for yourself and each other, your family, your Troy family, and whomever, you know. And but I full well expect you know, if you know, if we don't have those kind of people, then we're in deep trouble.
Coach, does this team have a true leader? Like the last 4 years, you got somebody like Corey there.
Yeah, well, you know, I've said we're young, and you know, we do have some guys that I would like to maybe appoint as leaders, but you know, I can't make it happen. You know, those guys, and to be a leader, you have to earn that. You have to earn that right every day. You can't be a leader on Tuesday or Monday, and then on Thursday or Friday you're not. You know, or whatever day you want to name. You know, but you know, you're 100% leader all the time, or you're not a leader at all. And it's sort of the same way as a player. You know, you got to understand that. And you know, I've been there. I understand that from high school playing and college, and you know, there's always been a few guys that you knew you could hang your hat on that was going to get it done, and there's always been a few you knew that would pay lip service to it that wouldn't get it done if it really got tough. And so we're facing some really tough times. We're looking for some really tough people.
If Pruitt does get a start on Saturday, so doesn't play, how does that change your offense?
Well, it doesn't change a lot of things. It changed the way that probably you know, he's a dart in, dart out, scramble type guy, and he sort of scares me. But you know, he's running for his life sometime if we don't protect him well. But if he can throw in rhythm, he's really got a good throwing stroke and can hit what he's looking at. But you know, he's not a even though he can really run fast, he's not a real runner. You know, he's not going to stick it up in there. He's going, you know, first flash, he's going to make a move. You know, and that's just a natural tendency that fast people sometimes have. He's very fast though. He can run. I hope he will play within himself, let the game come to him, not go crazy, you know. And you know, he's won a lot of games. He's won some games. You know, it's a pretty good league.
How much can the running backs help take that pressure off of him and kind of help him let the game come?
Well, it would be nice if we could, you know, rush for, you know, in the 200 range instead of the 120 range, and we can't be against Georgia. We can't power eye up in there because, you know, they'll basically outman us if we do that. We need to be able to run the football effectively in our spread sets. Maybe one or two backs, maybe no backs, maybe whatever. And so, you know, but we need to rush for more yards if we can. We need that also runs the clock. That also, which gives you a chance to get them to panic a little bit. But you know, the running game is vital, has always been vital. You don't just come out here one day and say we're going to run it good. You know, you come out here and you had to build on running it good, and you know, and you got to call it. And I'm not saying that I disagree with anything that's been called. I'm just saying that you know, we need for our success rate to up our yardage numbers rushing the football. I don't care how we do it. If we run backwards and get rushing, it suits me.
Well, today's Chandler and Worthy's 21st birthday.
Is it?
You gonna run him a few extra laps tomorrow?
I probably have to run with him because mine's coming up too.
Say when I can go. I know a couple of y'all probably put down your cameras. Ready? Certainly to echo what Coach Blakeney said, you know, none of us associated with Troy football or Troy athletics or Troy University are satisfied or pleased with the start we've gotten off to in football, 0-3, and certainly the bar has been raised much higher than that, and our expectation is higher than that. But also to echo what Larry said. Certainly now is not a time to start pointing fingers or to look at external factors. What we've got to do is make sure we take care of business in-house, and certainly our players are hurting, our coaching staff is hurting, but that hurt has got to be drive and motivation to focus all of our efforts and energies on getting better and ultimately winning. And certainly Larry and I had long discussions yesterday. Saturday night was a very restless night for a lot of us because, again, not the expectation we had, and certainly want to make sure that all of our efforts and energies are focused on getting better and winning. You know, if there's a message to our fan base out there, it's hey, in times like this, everybody's got to stick together and have faith and belief in the leadership. And again, what we're doing is working to get better and win on a consistent basis, as opposed to being divided and say, you know, if you don't do this, I'm pulling my support or not buying season tickets or anything like that. And you know, at the end of this, we'll continue to work to get better and win. And I have full confidence in Larry Blakeney. You look at the number of games he's won. I think one more win, he passes Shug Jordan, you know, a guy that he played for third all-time wins in the state, which there's some guys that have won some football games in the state of Alabama. So certainly we'll work to get better. Got our work cut out for us this week in Athens, but an entire Sun Belt Conference schedule left to play, and we will continue with locked arm in arm with all of those inside to get better and improve and win.
How many fans would you estimate have threatened to pull their support or not buy season tickets?
Stacy, that's a tough question. Certainly, I've gotten a barrage of emails and text and Twitter messages, and that's part of today's world of social media, which I don't think is a bad thing, and certainly my message to them, and I try to answer a bunch of them individually or collectively, that again, hey, I'm just as sick about it as they are, and certainly everything that we're doing is our efforts are to get better and to win and to certainly have a product on the field that makes sure folks, that instills pride in folks, and ultimately in our business, that's about winning.
What was the overall theme and mood of the conversations that you had with Coach Blakeney?
It's about what we can do to get better, certainly, and to certainly know that support is there, and what can I do and what can the university do to help us to one, get through this, and certainly win. And there's yes, we're 0-3. Yes, we have not won a game yet. Is there a lot of football left to play? And Larry didn't all of a sudden forget how to coach overnight. I mean, the guy has won a whole bunch of football games, and the guys on his staff have helped him win a bunch of football games. And we've got some very talented young men playing on our football team. And as you heard some of the interviews today, those guys are hurting too. I mean, and not to, it's not a time to say, woe is me, and I don't have this, and I don't have this. It's a time to focus that energy and say, damn it, what can I do today to get better? What can I do to help this team win?
Thanks, John.
Thank y'all.